What is up, my fellow human beings? Today I'm going to share a story of how I was unknowingly friends with a serial killer for 6 years. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to call him the Pussy Slayer. Now, before anyone says anything, the reason why I'm calling him the Pussy Slayer is because that is the nickname me and my friends came up with. Okay, so you'll see throughout this video why he's called the Pussy Slayer. Me and the Pussy Slayer, we were mutuals. We met through school, sort of like hanged around the social circles that I was in. Like, he was very shy and like, I don't want to say dorky. I don't want to say a nerd because I feel like he was like stereotypically like what people would refer to as a nerd. Like, his grades were good, he had like glasses, he was like very shy, but like we loved him. Like, he was a great guy. You would never think this guy would be like a violent guy. However, like every now and then he would say some like really weird stuff, like, oh, like, I believe husbands should beat their wives, or like, I like, he would say like some weird things about like how he liked seeing animals dying. It happened so infrequently though that like we never really kept tabs of him saying stuff like that. But one time, like, our friend, right, she was like, oh, so you're the Pussy Slayer, because he says something about like hating cats and wanting them dead. So she's like, oh, so you're the Pussy Slayer. After she said that, we sort of like started keeping tabs on him. Like, keep in mind, this was like over 6 years. So some of the things he was saying was extremely weird. Fast forward to 2021, it's his birthday, right? So he lived on a farm. Like, where I was living in the suburbs, we had like farms on the outskirts, so it wasn't really like, a lot of my friends lived on farms. He sort of had like this rule that you can't go to the back of the property. I didn't really think of anything of it because obviously when it comes to farms and stuff like that, especially at night, like, you would worry about snakes and other animals. So it never really was a worrying rule. Me and my friend, right, I'm gonna call her Emily. Me and Emily, right, we were having, I'm not gonna lie, we had a bit too much to drink. We were like getting drunk. It's a house party. So she started being like, oh, like, ha ha ha, like, what if he's hiding bodies back there? What if he's hiding bodies back there? Like, ha ha ha. Like, we were drunk, we were getting tipsy. And we sort of like dared each other to go to the back of the property. So that's when both of us decided that we're gonna go together and search the back of his property. Now, he owned like a large plot of land, all right? So his like land included the house, the ranch area, and on top of that, like, it included some of the woods as well. We started like walking. We didn't see anything straight off the bat. It was just like a bunch of dead wood, just yellow land. I would say though, like, his property was very dead. Like, he had burnt trees everywhere. He had like yellow grass. The only like thing that was sort of living was an orchard. Like, he had a mandarin orchard like on the far ends of his property. So that was like the only thing that was sort of there. We kept walking. We reached this pool area, right? It was one of those pools that you can buy online and you can build. It was pretty big. I was like, let's just go back. It was like starting to get dark. Who cares? And my friend's like, haha, look, let's go swimming. Like, that bitch was drunk. I'm sorry, but she was drunk. And so as we approached, right, the smell started getting worse and worse and worse. And I was like, I don't even want to do this. I want to go back to the house. So she went, right? She went and she like opened the covers, like the cover of the pool. And when I tell you guys, we saw like so much dead cats in this guy's pool. Every inch of this pool was compacted with cats. Some had no organs, some were just like mush, some were fresher than others. Every single inch of this pool was just dead cats. I don't know how much were in there. There was probably like hundreds of dead cats in there. So we both sobered up real quick. We ran back to the house. We were like, what the hell is going on? It was too much cats for it to be a coincidence. It was like too much cats for us to think like, oh, like one of them just stumbled in there. Like, someone was killing these cats. Like, we looked at each other and we were like, what the fuck? We were like yelling at the top of our lungs, like, oh my god. We went to the Pussy Slayer and we started complaining to him. We were like, dude, you have to see this. We just found a pool and there's like hundreds of cats in there. And he's like, yeah. Like, it was like the most casual thing on the planet. In fact, he was more angry at the fact that we went to the back of his property. Like, We were like, no, that's not the problem. All right, that's not the problem. What we found was hundreds of cats scattered all over your pool. You know what that scumbag said? He's just like, oh yeah, my mum buys cats so they can take care of the rats and the snakes on the property. And sometimes when I get frustrated, I just like hold one underwater and then all of my worries go away. And like, it was like the most casual thing ever. And he was looking at us like we were crazy for looking at him. Like, he was crazy. He's like, he cares, they're just cats, they're not humans. Yes, it matters. Like, we were mad. Me and Emily, we were pissed off. We were pissed off. So she starts yelling at the top of her lungs. I start yelling at the top of my lungs. All of our friends are like, calm down, like, what's going on, what's going on? And this guy, his older brother, right, he comes down from upstairs and he's so calm, right? He's just like, oh, like, it's okay, sit down, like, let's talk about this. And I'm like, we're not sitting down and talking about anything. Like, we're literally witnesses to a crime. We don't want to, like, be on this farm anymore. So Emily runs out to her car. I follow her because I don't want to be on that farm anymore. And then, guys, what scares me the most of that day and what I remember clearest is when we went out, right? It was dark, it was pitch black. We went to her car. I look up at the very top of his house. I think it's his mom. I see an older woman. The lights are on. She's just staring there, looking down on us. Not moving, not doing anything. And I feel like that's when it dawned on me. I'm like, that whole time we were goofing around in those fields, right? Me and Emily, we were like drunk as hell, running through those, her fields. We were probably being watched that whole time. And like, that sent shivers down my spine. Once I don't know, just adding the whole watching element, it just, I wanted off that farm. We got in, she drove off. An hour or two, we're back in the city, thank God. We go back to her place. Obviously, the very first thing we do is call the police. This operator, this makes my blood boil to this day. This operator was so disinterested in what we had to say. She's just like, we told her everything we saw that night. She's just like, oh yeah, that's gonna take a while for our officers to get up there. And we're like severely understaffed. And we're like, it doesn't, like, anytime. You don't have to go now. But like, please just someone go check on the property. Because we started thinking, like, what if there's people there? Like, what if, someone's holding someone hostage in the barn? Like, what's going on? Like, please, send someone to check. And on top of that, like, animal cruelty, that's a crime. Like, he should at least, get arrested for that. Like, it's disgusting how crimes against animals get taken so lightly. And she's just like, we'll send someone in the morning, but without a warrant, we can't really do anything. But if you want, you can, like, go into the police station tomorrow and file a report. And we're like, we're gonna do that. And like, the whole time, the whole night, and the whole next morning, our friends were calling us up, our other friends, they were like, like, what's going on? Just tell us what's going on. Like, why did you guys storm off? We're still here. We're still at the farm. Like, what's going on? What happened? Like, they were genuinely so confused. And I wasn't even bothered, like, for them. I was just worrying about what I was going to tell the police the next day. Next day comes, we go down to the police station. We recount everything we saw. We file in a report. We call up the police again. We ask them for updates on the farm. So they sent an officer down. And when the officer asked, like, can I search your property? Obviously, they said no. That's not a surprise to anybody. We knew he was gonna say no. But when we went down a week later to the police station and we asked, like, for an update on the case, they were so confused. They were like, what case? The police officer we were talking to didn't even report it in the system. Like, they had no trace of what we were talking about. And we're like, well, can we see the officer again? Like, can we see this officer? And they were like, oh, he's currently on vacation right now. It's gonna be a while till he comes back. Oh my God, we were so mad. That, like, has to be illegal. We were talking to him for hours and he was probably just thinking about his vacation. He's like, yeah, I understand. This dog, this cunt didn't even report it in the system. He was so lazy that he didn't even report it in the system. After that, me and Emily, we just gave up. We were like, nobody's taking us seriously. The police are lazy. We told all our friends what was happening. Everybody stopped talking to the pussy slayer. We stopped talking to the pussy slayer. This is why people don't report crimes. Because when they do, y'all treat them like they're crazy. Moral of the story is don't trust anybody, no matter how close you are to them. Because just because somebody is close to you doesn't mean they're close to everybody. Just because they like you doesn't mean they like everybody.